welcome to our literature time for the day. Cheyenne, what are we talking about?
Today we are talking about,
what are we talking about? I think we may have forgotten something. Can you guys help us? I think we need to be word detectives today. Would you guys see if you can find what we're looking for?
maybe under tables, chairs,
I don't know. See if you can find something to help us out. Anyone find anything? Oh, thank you. Okay, this is a good place to start. Anyone else? Oh, Desiree's got one. Cool. Oh, hey, cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. What word? Gross. What do you think they made? What? Anyone else? Maybe a chair beside them? If not, that's all right. What? That's okay. We are making words today. Well, let's find out. What are we going to make words for, Cheyenne?
Well, today we are making words and working on word walls. So just a quick overview of what the textbook talks about. Chapter 6 is all about word identifications. Specifically, we want to take a second and address word identification versus word recognition. They often used interchangeably, but word identification is being able to look at a word and say, okay, this is the word autumn. I don't know what it means, and using the context that surrounds it to figure out what the definition is. Whereas word recognition is you see the word autumn and automatically know autumn. It comes after summer, but is before winter, and that's when the leaves begin to change. So it's just that little difference there. A big part of the chapter is spelling-based strategies, which we'll be getting into a little bit later on with word walls and making words. And a big thing is prefixes and suffixes, and this is a great example of this. The T in tap is a prefix, just as the W in wig is, and the ap and ig in those words are the suffixes. So temp, ap, and wood, ig, they're good examples of one of those major concepts in the book.
Cheyenne. Our transliteracy, so you guys know that in the classrooms now, 21st century, a lot of schools now are getting Chromebooks, iPads, kids have their own laptops. It's a really big thing. And so something that can be used in your literacy section is this app. It's called Alphabet Sounds Word Study App. It's really good for anywhere through pre-K to maybe the end of first grade. And so there's 4 sections in it. There's a section on beginning words, ending sounds, middle vowels, and then also blends and digraphs. And then within each of those sections, there's different things that the kids can do to learn about those sounds. And so first they sort it. So there's like a picture, and they have to match the picture with the sound. So say you're in the beginning sounds and you have bed. And you see a picture of a bed, and you have to match that b with the b. And then find it. That's kind of the same thing in reverse. You just figure out what the sound is that goes with the picture. And then spell it. They can drag the letters into the boxes to spell the different words, like bed, B-E-D. And then they write it as the last one. And if you guys know about the Reading Mama, she's a kind of a big blogger, homeschooler. She said this app packs a punch when it comes to learning letters sound. So I'd highly suggest this for your transliteracy. Also, moving into some research on making words, that was my section. I call this one Seal the Deal. It's by Bingham, Kalata, and Hall Kenyon. They did research on this, and it stands for Systematic and Engaging Early Literacy. So this article was all about making sure you catch the kids young when it comes to literacy. You guys know this, we start them in pre-K and kindergarten, learning their letters and their sounds. They focus a lot on explicit instruction, practice, interaction, and purposeful decision. So a lot of their stuff is very verbal and hands-on. They kind of regretted not working more in print, so something that they could maybe do better is in coding. They We also talked about word families and application examples, like this backpack. One of the teachers, she put out a black backpack and she said, what objects can we put in this black backpack that have the rhyme ack, A-C-K? So that's this article, and then the next one has to do with the synthetic and analytic phonetics, which we kind of talked about a little bit already today, where synthetic has to do with phonemic awareness being taught first. So really getting the letters and the sounds for decoding, and then analytic has to do with phonological awareness first, so getting those syllables. And that does a lot better teaching students about subunit and rhyme identification. That way they can see, okay, bed and then lead. Those two kind of go together because they have the ed at the end. And that goes with word families. They also talked about encoding, so decoding with synthetic phonics. That's really important for reading, but encoding comes in when you're writing. So you know the word ed, but can you write the word ed from the sounds that you hear? And then morphological awareness, which you guys already know a little bit about, that's also just having the spelling aspect of it. And then the last article I looked at, I call it Playing with Literacy, because it was all about young kids coming up with their own activities for literacy. I thought this was really interesting. So the study was the teacher would give one group of students their own form of instruction. So they had a very specific activity, and they're like, this is what you do. And then for the other group, they gave that same instruction, but they also said, make your own activity. And the kids loved it. They always wanted to be in the group that got to make their own activity. So they would get maybe things that would normally go in a sort, and they could use it however they wanted. And so they did things like they made a story or a play, or they sorted things in ways that maybe they weren't supposed to be in the first place. They were very engaged. It gave kids a lot of confidence who didn't normally talk that much. And it was just really fun. They talked about it on the playground, outside of class, so it's a really big deal for them.
Alrighty, and then I focused on word walls specifically, and this first article written by Joanne Jasmine and Pamela Scheisel, I titled this slide The Effects of Word Walls, and it just talks about a very basic understanding of what a word wall is. Reading fluency is really just a big key aspect of this. The goal is to have students be able to look at the word wall regardless where it is in the room and know, okay, this is what that word means, and this is how I can use it in context with other literature. The high frequency sight words are usually what you're going to find on these word walls, whether it's things like nouns, verbs, adjectives, whatever's appropriate for the age level. And location matters so much when it comes to word walls. I know personally, I can look back in my old classrooms and see along the upper perimeter of the classroom, just the letters going around with words, or just up at the front of the wall in the front of the classroom, the alphabet going across. And it's the reason the reason location matters, the focal point of the classroom is where the kids are going to be looking. And they want to make sure that word walls are going to be something that they're seeing every day and something they're getting to interact with. And then this next one, interactive word walls. Just a raise of hands, how many of you guys ever used word walls outside of the 5th grade, like 6th grade, 7th grade and up? Okay, cool. So this is a finding that they are recently working on, and Julie Jackson and Rose Nervez did a lot of research on this, that it goes beyond just vocabulary in the lower grades. They used a science example. This is all about like conjugate solubles and density. It looks like an upper elementary science class. And this is a good example of using concepts for word walls, and a lot of times history courses use these as well. And it's not as straightforward or word wall looking. It's something as simple as a word web. Or I think at the beginning of this book you have a picture where it says word identification and a bunch of other words that follow it. That can be an example of a word wall. They're visual and tangible so that students can really look at them, and this is great for kinesthetic learners. You can see the girl is putting something on the wall, and this image comes directly from the study itself. And then this one, this is that classic word wall, and Hammond, Wood, Hedrick, Vinegar, and Williford did a study working in Texas with some students where they were realizing that, just like Katie said, independence is a huge part of learning. They did this study where students could make this activity where they figured out, okay, what are some words that we think everyone should know? And they made this list, and they really enjoyed it. They were motivated to learn, and it really just helped the information to stick. And it promoted a broader sense of vocabulary, a deeper understanding of words, and again, the motivation was a huge aspect of this. And I mentioned right here that word walls go beyond elementary learning. That's something that was a recurring theme along all three of my articles, at least. Greek and Latin roots for middle school, and again with the concepts. And then just to wrap everything up really sweet and short, word walls are just simply a way to group words. It can be in the traditional format or what we'll see using a fish later on. And then it doesn't have to just be A, apple, B, bat, blue, bag, stuff like that. You can use words that rhyme, the beginning sounds of words, and like the concepts and themes. And portable word walls are becoming more popular, flashcards, things like that, so it becomes a study tool and not just a stationary teaching aspect. And then, like what Katie said, making words, talking about onsets and rhymes and patterns, and just learning from a young age, preschool, kindergarten, like she mentioned, and emphasizing the phonemic awareness and the morphemic awareness, that if there's no firm foundation of these concepts from the beginning, then students are going to struggle throughout their literacy eventually.
These are our references. And the last thing that we wanted to do to really tie everything up with that big bow is word popcorn. So you guys were word detectives when we started this out. So really quick, if you just stand up and let us know a word that maybe you heard today or you learned today, and then after that you get to eat your popcorn. So just pop on up when you think of a word that you saw today. Any word, it could be any word. It could be on this slide.
Popcorn.
Awesome. They can eat his popcorn now. Word walls. Awesome. Detective. Ed. I'll take that too. Yes, Maisie. That's it. Interactive word walls. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So that wraps it up for our PowerPoint. So